I have a great surprise for you today. I'm honored to be a part of this conversation with you. A company that's been around since 1892, that's right. They've started working with FactoryWiz for about 6 years. I'm with my buddy Mike, and we're gonna learn a bit more about what Freeman does here with their molds, even though they started in the shoe industry in 1892, and learn a little bit about that evolution. But we're gonna talk about FactoryWiz, the decisions that went into why it should be implemented. So to start, 6 years ago, let's go to 7 years ago, you knew that you needed to implement some sort of software to help you look at your machines, the employees going around, the uptime, the downtime, the scrap, being able to quote jobs. You knew you needed something. What led you in the direction of FactoryWiz?
Yep, you're right, all that stuff. So, you know, you always come out and you take a look at the machines and you see what's running and what's not running. You form opinions by what you see at that moment. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. And we were on the journey of spending a lot of money on investing in some new equipment, and we knew our utilization probably wasn't what it needed to be, and especially when you start throwing out $1 million or whatever it might be for another piece of equipment, that's kind of scary to start with. But if you're only running that piece of equipment 40%, 60%, whatever else it might be, we knew we really had to take a look at that and what were some of the reasons we were getting the runtime or lack thereof for our current equipment before we went ahead and bought something different.
I'm looking around your machine shop, and in my head I go, wow, these machines are massive. I'm looking at incredible Mitsui machines, knowing the parts that you guys make here, the big molds that you're making for the industry that you're in. To me, it's not just a want for a software like FactoryWiz, it's really a need, because you mentioned that uptime of the spindle, and to know what we call hidden machining or the hidden factory, the details behind what's going on, you have to know that, right? What is your average cycle time? You have to know this uptime of your machine, right?
Yeah, so interesting for us, it's all custom things like a lot of mold shops are. So average really doesn't exist, or a standard doesn't exist, I should say. So, you know, you're left to, okay, we're making a part for the first time every day almost, or every time we put something in. So we really need to understand, and the goal was to become more of a mold producer than a former, what you would think, a mold shop to be. So really what we're trying to do is we're investing in not only the equipment, but the people and the software up front to try and program the equipment so that when we turn it loose, it runs and runs unattended. You can see the big tool changers and the pallet changers on these big machines right here. You know, we do a lot of things to try and get that spindle to run, so we're making chips, which is how we make money at the end of the day. So we really need to understand what's the impediment or what's keeping us from making those chips. That's why we went and looked at monitoring software and landed with FactoryWiz, because it gives us the reasons why we're not making chips. It might be because of a bad program, lack of material, maybe no work, or oftentimes it comes down to there's just not manpower there to do it. The beauty of it is we're not making an assumption, and it's not based on myself or one of the other leaders or managers walking out here and saying, it's not running right now, somebody must be doing something wrong. Oftentimes that's not really the case. It's the situation, it's somebody upstream, it's that we don't have a person available to actually run the machine, and the data makes in making additional investments or focus on efforts on things really easy, because if we're losing a lot of runtime because we don't have a person per se, the thing to do is if the data makes sense, we hire the person, and then we look to the data to change, that's no longer the reason it's not running, it's something else. And then we just keep rolling through the list and improving upon those until we work it down and bring the uptime up.